Why do smart people keep quietly deleting their social life, then acting relieved about it? You get the invite, and you don't even answer. You wait. You bargain with yourself. You picture the noise and the small talk. Then you cancel and feel weirdly calm right after. That isn't you being antisocial, and it isn't you being broken. It's load. Your brain looks at the cost and it shuts the door. Schopenhauer had a harsh model for why this happens, and I'm going to translate it into a simple way to keep people without draining yourself. Also, there's one mistake that turns selective into isolated. We'll hit that near the end. Schopenhauer's blunt take is that most social life isn't built for truth or depth. It runs on status checks, boredom relief, and small lies that keep things smooth. Not evil lies, just the tiny social edits, the fake interest, the polite agreement you don't mean, the parts you leave out, because the real answer would slow the room down. If you care about being accurate, that constant editing starts to feel like paying a tax in every sentence. So you pull back, not because you hate people, but because the system you're in asks you to act like a lower resolution version of yourself, and that costs more than it gives. He also has this image people call the hedgehog problem. When you get close, you get warm. That's the good part. But you get too close and the spines show up, the friction, the noise, the misunderstandings, the little social cuts. So you back away for safety. And that works until you go too far, and now you're cold. Most smart people get stuck right there, oscillating between too close and too far, because nobody taught them how to set a stable distance. And smart tends to change the math. You notice sloppy talk fast. You spot the power games under the joke. You hear the contradiction, and your brain wants to fix it. At the same time, you often need more quiet than the group setting allows, so every extra minute carries a higher cost than it does for someone who can just ride the vibe. That's why it doesn't feel like a clean choice. It's cognitive load, it's masking, it's switching contexts over and over, and it's the after-tax of recovery time when you get home and realize you can't do anything for the rest of the night. What? Your calendar might show a fun dinner. Your nervous system logs a 3-part event: perform, adapt, recover, which sets up the trap. Solitude becomes pain relief, so you use it like medicine. Then you raise your standards so high that almost nobody qualifies, and you call that peace, even though it's really avoidance with good branding. The mistake that flips selective into isolated is waiting for perfect people. Perfect people don't show up on schedule. A repeatable way to see imperfect people does. So the fix isn't a vow like I'm going to be more social. That's just another open loop. The fix is a constraint, a design, decision gates that make the default healthy instead of extreme. Start with a 2-lane social plan. Lane A is low-cost maintenance, short calls, a walk, a quick coffee, a message thread you touch once a week. The point isn't depth, it's keeping the connection alive without a big ramp-up. Lane B is high depth and rare. That's the one friend you'll do a long dinner with, or a real weekend, because it pays you back. Next, put in a time box and an exit rule. Fixed start, fixed end. Rewind row, right down wide, down out. You leave while it's still good, because leaving at the peak protects the next invite. No apology story. Just, I'm going to head out. Good seeing you. When you wait until you're fried, your brain tags the whole event as a threat. Then, use a topic filter. You don't need deep all the time. You need real. Bring one question you actually care about, something that creates signal. What are you working on? that's harder than you expected? Or what changed your mind this year? That one move pulls you out of status noise without forcing a TED Talk. Finally, give yourself a recovery budget. Put quiet on the calendar after social time so it stops feeling like social time stole your life. When recovery is planned, your brain doesn't have to panic protect you with last-minute cancellation. Quick check. If you dread everyone, that's overload. You need tighter constraints. If you dread one person, that's misfit. And no protocol fixes a bad fit. And keep the harsh truth in its place. Yes, a lot of social life is shallow, but your job isn't to escape people. It's to set distance on purpose. You don't quit people because you're superior. You quit because your social system has no limits, and your brain protects itself. If you want the exact decision gates, time boxes, and the short scripts I use to keep social life low drama, check the link in the description and watch the next video on breaking the cancel last-minute loop. Subscribe if you want more clean systems that beat overthinking without hype.